So Blackburn Rovers have gone through a whole host of managers over the years since, of course, becoming crowned Premier League champions under Kenny Dalglish. We've seen some good, we've seen some bad, and we've seen absolute trash. Who, of course, ranks the cream of the crop, who ranks, of course, bottom of the pile. We're going to take a look at all that and much more in today's Rovers Ramble. Next. That's right, folks, back once again with another review. That's right, folks, back once again with another Rovers Ramble podcast. That's right, I'm going to be getting together with a bunch of boys to talk about all things Rovers, especially their managers. We'll get into all of that, of course, in a second. If you're new where you've been, smash your subscribe and your one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers, Championship, managers. We've got it all here under one rooski. That's right. Of course, we have been through the mill with some managers. We've had some good times. Mowbray, maybe, of course, Graham Souness. That's right, some glory years. But who was the best manager since, of course, we became Premier League winners? Well, we'll take a look at it in a second. Big shout out to the Patreons, you know who you are, and a big shout out to the members, you know who you are. But let's, of course, bring on the boys, bring on reinforcements, as, of course, Rovers Ramble, your FCA's nominated podcast, of course, coming at you. Let's get into it. Okay, welcome to Rovers Ramble, the officially nominated podcast. That's right, from the FCA's, when we hopefully will find the status of our podcast in about 2 weeks' time. But yes, Rovers on the back of a win against Cardiff. Of course, we were live, weren't we, Jacob? We were live. Yeah, you and I were both live doing the watch along in a doubleheader in what made for a refreshing change for Rovers. Away win, goals aplenty, some great teamwork. Summarize our performance.
Yeah, it was great to get that kind of monkey off the back, I suppose, of the no away wins. Finally get that away win, and as you say, obviously top it off with 3 goals as well. Weren't just a scabby 1-0. But yeah, I think we probably deserved the away win. Kind of rights the wrongs, I suppose, of that Watford game where, obviously they have the one shot on target being the penalty, and we felt hard done by. Yesterday, we dominated the first half so much so they had to change their tactics second half. They had to bring on the big man, Matey, up top, however you pronounce his name, go direct. Yes, it's a shame we concede another penalty, 3 and 4 games. Our best friend, Joe Rankin Costello there. But, yeah, I mean, obviously Lewis Baker coming on, getting that goal at the end, sealing the deal. And yeah, I think the 2 goals we scored prior to that were kind of a long time coming. Obviously, those few games without the goals, but you're not going to kind of score those goals every game. So I do think after this international break, we maybe need to kind of summarise and see how we move forwards, because we're not going to be scoring Barcelona type goals every game, are we, Dirk?
No, we're not. No, but it was refreshing to see, and I'm also getting Wyman back on the score sheet. Jonty, did you catch the game by yourself? Did you see the game last night, or catch the highlights?
Yeah, no, I saw it live. I watched it on Sky. I didn't go to the game, and probably that's why we won, because my rotten luck away from home just follows me around. So yeah, I followed the game. I thought and watched the game. I thought it was a really good away professional performance. We did what we had to do to get the 3 points to bring back up the M5 and then the M6 as well. So I want to give one big call out to the referee though, because there was points in that game where ordinarily a championship referee would blow for silly little, where the players just knock into each other or something stupid, and it's never a foul or anything like that. And the referee just, he didn't sink to that kind of level of refereeing. I thought it was a really, really good, solid refereeing performance. I think the penalty was a penalty. It's one of those where, as a Rovers fan, you'll probably feel it's a little bit harsh. As a Cardiff fan, it's a nailed-on penalty. God, it was GBH, wasn't it? But no, big shout out to the referee. I thought he had a sterling game. But Rovers, Yeah, that was a really good professional away performance. We defended when we needed to. I don't think they caused us that many problems. We did the counter attack absolutely brilliantly. The training ground goal that I've been speaking about for such a long period of time now came off. Where we strung a lot of passes together. I think 42 passes for the first goal. Lewis Travis, different class yesterday. Like I said on the sort of reaction thing yesterday, is that I've had a concern that we're playing Tronstad and Travis, two very, very similar types of players. Do the ugly stuff brilliantly. But Travis showed a different side of his game where if you allow him just to go that little bit more forward, he will play that killer ball through. He will interact with like the sort of the 3 or 4 up front as well. So yeah, brilliant display. What was your question? Did I watch it? Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah, and it was a good performance by Rose. Good performance by your dad, Gavin Ward. How do you like that? Did you catch the game, Steve? Did you spoke to your dad yet?
I didn't actually, no. So, like, I'll be honest, I don't know any of Cardiff players, to be honest, other than the big man up top. What's his name? Yeah. So, yeah, but I didn't catch the game. I've seen the highlights, but it looked like we were really, really dominant. So, and it also looked like we're going back to having a little bit more of a mix of both being able to be passed out from the back, as you say, and then also the counter attack if that was successful at the start of the season. But so that's probably that extra element of being a bit more unpredictable that we kind of needed. But again, I didn't watch the game, so don't take my word for it. It's a bit you guys all did, but I got my tickets for the Leeds game at the end of the month, so that's what I'm looking forward to. Really.
What shirt we got on there? That's that old school shirt for sure.
So about a few months ago, I went up in the attic and found all my dad's old tops. So like,
nice.
Don't have a clue what season this is, but it's pre-90s, so I think
Jonty knows.
80s.
That shirt is one that I don't have. Steve, please do not tell me where you live because I will come round and burgle you. I've got the yellow version of that, but I would go for 88, 89. No, probably maybe 89, 90.
Yeah, you can really tell how old it is from how the white is just like
it's cream. It's cream. Yeah. Yeah, no, that shirt, honestly, it's one that I'd love to have. I've never ever bought one off eBay. Maybe I need to, but yeah, I would pay a lot of money for that shirt if it fit me. The joys of being a fat kid. I've got the yellow version of that. I think it was XL, so I'd still squeeze into it now, which is brilliant. But yeah, that shirt, honestly, gives me a semi. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, I'm sure. Of course you can. All right, let's go check in with Denver. Denver, how are you doing? Did you catch the game yesterday? What are your takeaways?
I did catch the game. I got in after work, and I started 30 minutes in the first half. Sorry, and takeaways: dominant first half, really, really good. They had to make the changes to, and thankfully we got finally the thing against Stoke that we didn't do after the dominant start we had against Stoke. We finally put the ball in the back of the net. It was a really well goal. Like Jacob said, we're not going to score those every week. It's going to be a case of, we have to adapt to the opposition, which is what JDT didn't do ultimately. But we won't go into that. But the second half, a mixed bag second half. We go and score the second, which was what we needed. And then we give them a soft penalty. We didn't need, it was a penalty, but it was like, at the time of the game, we're 2-0 up, we're comfortable. The one thing we don't want to do when you're at 2-0 is concede a goal. And Pears did everything he could, like he saved the pen. An argument could be, don't push it down back into the middle, push it out wide. But there you go. Pears had a really good game yesterday, so I don't really want to knock him for it. But at that point, we made it to 2-1, and I think we were really, really under the cosh at that point. And we were causing those problems ourselves. So just not being able to keep hold of the ball. And I think if it wasn't for Lewis Baker's, goal the other end, which kind of came out of nothing, I think we could have maybe conceded a goal in those last few minutes because we weren't keeping hold of the ball. We weren't doing the right things. We weren't playing the long ball. We were doing really well in the last ditch, headers out from the back or just getting it out. But, we've given at that point, we've got out. We need to play that long ball into the channel to soak up the pressure. We give it back to them and then we're under the cosh again. We were just in that pocket and all it took was a one good ball, a one good run. We were in that area where it was like they're in contention to score here, and thankfully we go up the other end out of nothing, and Lewis Baker just puts one in. It kind of deceived me as well. I thought it was going to be a loop ball at the back post. I think that's what deceived the keeper, and we score, done, take the points, and it was overall a good performance. But I'm sure Eustace is going to look at that second half and maybe go over a few things defensively and maybe try and manage games a little bit better, especially not giving penalties away to start off with. But yeah,
it was accident prone at the back. But this is why we find ourselves right here, right now. We're going to bring you up on the board. This is the form heading into the international break. It's not great, but importantly, we got the win, we got the goals, and it relieves a little bit of pressure because we were starting to get a little hanging in there. But within touch and distance of the playoffs, I think. Worst one on the screen. Steve, what do you reckon? Which one out of those is the one that you wish you could wipe from your memory?
Well, it's the Plymouth or the Coventry game, really. They're the ones that, probably the Plymouth or the Coventry one, because the other teams you can see either way. Like I imagine, like with Stoke, even though we were the better team, we're about, I wouldn't say they're miles off. It's whoever is on their day, I'd say. We're about the same level, I'd say, as a Stoke. And then say Watford and Sheffield United, I'd say that the amount of money that they've got to spend, either way. Same with West Brom. That game 0-0 was probably a fair result on reflection on it. But yeah, Coventry is just more from we kind of crumbled, really. It could have been more than 3 when looking back on it. And the Plymouth teams like Plymouth, we should be really beating at this point. But yeah.
Jonty, what do you think about that? Which one was your worst takeaway out of this? Which one do you think? If you could write one of these results, which one would it be?
Yeah, Coventry. No questions asked. I was there.
Struggling to bear him now.
Your microphone. Put your microphone on. Yeah.
Is that any better?
Yeah.
Okay. Coventry, without a shadow of a doubt. Coventry was. I went to that game. We were fully expecting to win that. Even Coventry fans were nervous of that one. It was at a time where Coventry were, on a slippery slope downwards. Even Coventry fans were saying, "Yeah, you're going to wipe the floor with us." But to come away from that, we didn't really show up. We would still be playing now, and we still wouldn't score in that game. It was madness. Really disappointing. Plymouth, disappointing game, but we lost there 3-0 last season, I think it was. So to come away from there, we were 1-1 up until the 91st, 92nd minute, albeit we didn't play well, but sometimes you've got to take these things in the Championship. But Swansea, great win, and I think they also had the same scoreline at Burnley just literally a few hours ago. And if you look at a lot of Swansea's results recently, they've all been 1-0. So they're a tough team to break down. So West Brom, pretty standard. Watford, tough one to take. Probably deserved a draw out of that. Sheffield United didn't see it, so I'm going to leapfrog that one. Stoke City, bit of a joke, really. Yeah, we played really, 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 really well. Even Stoke fans said that we were good for a draw, if not the win from that. But no, Coventry, absolutely categorically, that was the biggest shock to us. We went down there with so much confidence, and we left there coming back up the M6 with diddly squat and a lot of negativity and a shit performance.
Yeah. Denver, where's your head at in regards to 10 being panic stations or 1 being cool as fuck? Where are you right now in regards to the situation of our season and under John Eustace right now?
I'm quite comfortable personally, but I'm assuming. I mean, I've seen how the fans, but then the fans will always 3 losses. It's like the end of the world. But from what I've seen, I'm a 2-3 personally, just in terms of what we're trying to do. The style of play, I feel no issue, and the benefit with John Eustace, of course, we adapt to the opposition that we're playing against. The performance, even like, was the question that you asked the other boys. I want to say Stoke for me was probably one of those where how good we were. The fact that we came away with nothing was the disappointing factor. But then the thing with that game was, I knew if we keep playing like that, 9 times out of 10, we'll win majority of games. So I've never really had. I'm not really worried. Even though after the 3 losses, it was like the Sheffield United you expect. Watford was a penalty, which arguably wasn't, so that could have been easily a point. And Stoke on another day, it was their keeper didn't save some worldies in that game. You're seeing a different result there, and it's proven that against Cardiff we can do it. Similar with the Plymouth result, going back to. We're 2-1 up and we're under the cosh. I want to say the reason why we conceded that last goal is because of that defensive, trying to keep hold of the score. So I think that is an area, probably the only weakness I'd say we've got as a team. But yeah, I'm quite comfortable. I'm happy that John Eustace is the manager. He's impressed me with what the style of play and his ideas. There's always a plan B, unlike other years. I'm not going on about it, but yeah. Everything that we're doing and the players that we've got, I've got no argument at all.
Yeah, if I could just butt in there and just really underpin what Denver was saying is that what I like about John Eustace is he's not scared to make a substitution, which other managers have been. Do you know what I mean? Or we've been, and don't get me wrong, I'm not chastising Tony Mowbray. Love the guy to bits. Forever grateful for what he did, but he was always a 60-minute man. He will make a change. Where Eustace, he will make changes at halftime. He'll make triple substitutions if need be. Yeah, big respect to him. Yeah,
and he's not afraid to change shape as well. Like towards the end of that Cardiff game, we did change back into a 4-4-2. We had Gay and Buckley. I remember when we brought Buckley, and I was thinking, is this the right? But then he was almost playing up top with Gay, who's the left side striker, which was interesting just for that bit of presence and just the press at the back.
Just to not make us obvious, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think off camera, just before we started this podcast, Steve was saying that we have other teams have worked us out and things like that, and that's what I like about Eustace is that he will throw a different kind of thing into the mix, sort of thing. He will make us not as predictable as what we have seen previously. So credit to Eustace. I think he's doing a solid job. Is my personal opinion. Do I see him long term of 3 or 4 years? Maybe not, but do I see him sort of getting the best out of what he's got? Absolutely, yes.
Well, that's like just the environment of football now, though. Like you don't really see managers stay in for 3 or 4 years at any club. It's a bit unusual when we had Mowbray, but that's more from us going up and then just trying and then getting in straight in and around the playoffs straight away afterwards. But if he did end up getting us playoffs, I could see him staying a little bit longer. It's all dependent more on the money he's got to play with and interest from the bigger teams up in the Premier League, really, isn't it?
So, Jake, I'll check this one out. You kind of with Eustace. Do you see him more likely to be poached or more likely to be fired?
It's a good question. I mean, obviously, there's already been a couple of rumours this season. We were saying on the live stream, weren't we, Dirk? Southampton were linked with him. And now Coventry are apparently linked with him after sacking Mark Robbins. I can't help but think it's just paper talk, to be honest with you. But in my opinion, if I was going to guess, I think maybe just a parting of ways at the end of a contract sort of thing, a bit like a Mowbray. I think there's quite a lot of similarities there between a Eustace and a Mowbray. And to be fair, like, someone's just said there, can't see him staying for 3 or 4 years. I personally can. I do think he probably will stick around and kind of just do the job he can. I'm not sure if he's the man to take us to playoffs, but I can just kind of see him maybe getting us to the point like Mowbray did of stability and then parting ways, and then maybe for us going for another ambitious type of manager. The John Dahl appointment was definitely ambitious and something different. I can maybe see something similar happening again.
So here we are, ninth in the table. I'm going to test all your EFL knowledge here a little bit. Who do you think is going to get fired next? Like which coach out of which of these? Because there's a lot of hot seats right now. QPR with Cofientes. You know, they got the whole fella, Wayne Rooney. Who else is under pressure? Parker at Burnley. They're not happy even though they're winning. Jonty, who do you think's who's got the heat under their seats right now the most?
I think the QPR manager. I put my hand straight up. So one of our underwriters at work, I work in finance. He's a big QPR fan. You know, and that guy came in last season and he just propelled them up the league. And I actually put them down for like being in the playoffs. I'll be honest with you, because their form at the end of last season was absolutely immense. He took them from relegation, literally not even staring down the barrel of relegation. They were relegated. QPR were down, and QPR finished above us. I think they were relatively comfortable in about 14th position, something like that. So I honestly thought if they can keep that momentum going, then yeah, absolutely, they're going to be in the playoffs. But yeah, speaking to or at least teams messaging or my QPR mate, he's like they're playing horrendously. I think they lost 4-1 at Middlesbrough midweek, sort of thing, and you know it's completely unacceptable. So yeah, I would go with the QPR manager. You've said his name. I can't actually remember it. Thank you, mate.
They just gave him a 5-year deal as well, about 2 months ago. So they have to swallow their pride and take that back or something.
Kiss of death.
Check the sofa for the receipts. But Steve, what about you? I'm looking at Luton Town, Rob Edwards, Premier League last year. Now they're down there. What are you thinking, Steve?
Yeah, well, this is. I'm going to be honest. I don't know too much about the league, but you go in with names that are bigger. Like I know, just to say someone different, throwing Rooney out there would be a really sensible shout because he must be on quite a big whack of money. But the only thing to counteract that with Plymouth are probably where they expected to be at the start of the season, around there anyway. But the amount of money that he's on. Yeah, I'd put Rooney out there really because you wouldn't expect them to be holding Rooney for long anyway, and he's not lighting the world of light, is he really?
Jacob, what are your thoughts? Who's got the knock at the door waiting?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Rob Edwards. I mean, he's got more credit in the bank than, say, the QPR manager. Obviously, got them promoted to the Premier League, first time ever. But, I mean, we were saying on the live stream, they didn't sell that many players or lose that many players. Yes, they lost Barkley, and I think they maybe lost one or two more. But, you know, they've
still there? I don't think so. Andros Townsend. I don't think he was there winning last season. I don't know if he's still there.
I think he might have gone to Turkey or something.
Yeah, I think he's more of a pundit nowadays, to be honest.
But the thing,
yeah, I mean,
the thing with Rob Edwards, sorry though, aren't they aren't Luton supposed to be spending some money on their stadium or something? So
they are.
I'm guessing he's got a bit of a payout if they do let him go from.
You say all this, but I mean, you look at Luton and Rob Edwards. If they've got 6 more points, they're literally a point below us. Do you know what I mean? They're in 10th position, which is probably acceptable for any team from sort of Luton upwards. You know what I mean? The 2 wins. I know it's massive in the Championship, but the 2 wins away. So if you were the board of management, you'd be thinking, well, actually, you know what? 2 wins and, we'll be back up there. So it's early November. You'd probably be thinking, well, at least give them until December. So I'm thinking it's either your QPR that are rooted to the bottom, or it'd be somebody like Scott Parker at Burnley, where the expectancy is to be further up there. So, that's where because it's so tight from 21st all the way up to sort of us, really.
It is, but
6 points.
I was going to say at the same time, you've just come from the Premier League and you're towards the bottom four. I know the points are one thing, but performances, of course, are another. So it's easy to look at this and go, "Oh, they're only a few points away." But they got battered 5-1, didn't they? Was it midweek or this week? Like
They just got yesterday at home. I think they got
yeah,
battered.
yesterday at home they got battered 5-1. So it's like. I'm literally like I think
That's
I've seen an article saying that I think he's tempted to walk because he has this affinity with Luton fans of being out, like getting them up and doing well in the Premier League. He doesn't want to tarnish that. So I think as much as they're only 2 points away from being, or 2 wins away from being around us again, I think performances have not been good enough in terms of maybe not results, but like the style of play or something, and he's even said that himself. He's potentially of what because he doesn't want to, have that rift with the fans. So I think he's an option for maybe the next person. If he's not getting sacked, he's walking. So
yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd go for Hull
as well.
You're for Hull.
Hull.
Go on, Dirk. Why?
Well, I just he's a bit of a rogue character. The old the owner over there, the Turkish owner. He binned off, shot at Avaladze very quickly. He stuck with Rosinha, which was great. And now they went on a limb because they could have just tapped him up. I don't know why they got rid of Rosinha after doing well last time, and now they bring this German guy Walter, expecting miracles, and they're not chipping in with any decent performances. And I whenever I see a club that I think should be doing all right and they lose, I'm straight into the official Twitter accounts, reading what the fans are saying, and they are pissed at Hull, especially at Hull. So I'm gonna like Hull, like Luton Town, definitely. Yeah, Edwards in the spotlight for sure, but I think both could go. Edwards.
Can I chuck another one in?
Yeah,
go on.
Can I don't think he will get sacked, but I think Preston fans must be scratching their head a bit with Heckingbottom. I think they kind of punched a bit signing him, to be honest with you. He's a decent signing for Preston. And obviously, they got rid of his name, Mason or something. I can't remember, the Scouser. And
Ryan Lowe.
Ryan Lowe, sorry. I'm thinking of Ryan Mason for some reason. But obviously, they probably found themselves in a similar position now as to when he left. I mean, he only left after one game or so, didn't he? But obviously they ended last season poorly and it's not really picked up this season. They're not around their comfortable mid-table spot, are they?
No. But the thing with that is that they've already played their wild card and got rid of a coach. If they get rid of this one, they're Watford 2.0, starting sacking coaches every 2 seconds. So they played their wild card. And I think certain coaches just suit. Like, look at Chris Wilder. Take him out of Sheffield United. He's shit. Borough, Watford, wank. At Sheffield United, he sings a tune, just like Nathan Jones at Luton. Take him out of Luton, he's shit. Heckingbottom's a Wilder 2.0. He can't do it outside of Sheffield United, and I think they will also struggle. But you're right, he should be under pressure. They're not delivering. I actually just recorded a video about these managers. It'll be out tomorrow. But I did say that he's there's certain people that just suit certain clubs.
Just look at that championship table. Look at, the red only stops when you get to Millwall. Do you know what I mean? There's red from Blackburn all the way down to QPR, and then there's red even all the way up to second place. There's only 2 teams that have not lost a game within the last 6. I mean, it's just an amazing league. Yeah. All these Premiership whores need to look at this table and start taking it seriously, don't they? Because as much as I would love to go up for the financial reasons, the football in the Championship is just immense, isn't it? It's just you can't call it. I mean, let's be honest, who would have called on here yesterday that we were going to beat Cardiff 3-1 away at their place? Cardiff, remember, we're winning every single game at home. They've had a bit of a shake-up in the manager. They've got a new interim manager. I didn't see that one coming at all. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's such an immense league. Obviously, I don't want to be in it for financial reasons, but I do want to be in it for all the other reasons.
Yeah. Well, let's. I've been talking about the hot seat and managers and all that for one particular reason. Kind of leading up to this, it is my tier list of Blackburn Rovers managers from the past. Now we're going to roll through the years, and you guys are going to get either a good luck draw or you might get a shit draw. And this is down to Steve. You can blame him, because he was the one who put the idea in my head. So we will start with Denver's at the top. We're coming at you a bit of a random order as well. So we'll go through the years. And if my memory suits me, you're going to get, I will make it a little spicy for you. Let's go with a Scotsman. So Scotsman.
Oh, no.
Paul Lambert. You remember Paul Lambert?
Well, it was the other Scotsman.
So we have categories, by the way: elite, best of the rest, decent, meh, and dog shit. So you have to categorize him for me, maybe with a bit of a summary of why.
I remember Paul Lambert really for me was after Bowie, he was like the first like manager that I really like, you know, it's the second manager that I've really seen properly. And I remember when we initially pointed him, I was really excited. I remember just watching the interview over again and saying what he could, you know, what we could bring into the club. And it was I think the meh category, I'll just say it now, the meh category sums him up completely because he was with us for what? 2-3 months, and then he announced that he was leaving at the end of the season anyway, because I don't know what reason it was. I think he was just, I think as the owners, when it was the relationship with the owners, and he didn't see it. And then ultimately, to be fair to him, we got relegated to the next season. So, but yeah, like it was such a promising appointment. I know we didn't do very well at Villa at the time when they were in the Premier League, but we come in and it was like, look, we've got the Premier League manager coming in, and this is where we're going to kick on, and it was a bit flat, I think, just a bit flat. We had all right. I mean, did he sign? Was it Danny Graham when we signed him, or I think was it prior to? No, because Bowie went in November. Didn't he?
It might have been Coyle that signed Graham. I'm not sure, but it might.
No, I think he signed him permanently, but he came on loan, didn't he, from Sunderland?
Yeah.
The likes of Tony Watt and a few other players. I think Matt Grimes come in that January window, and these were exciting players. I think it was Tony Watt. Was it against Watford or someone? He scored a really good goal. I think I'm
Barcelona. He scored against Barcelona for Celtic.
Yeah, for the Celtic. Yeah, but we had some like Graham, and from that we of course signed him permanently. But yeah, so ultimately having Paul Lambert, bringing in Graham, look for long term, maybe give him a bit of a boost for that. But yeah, come in and we finished 15th that season, but just seemed a bit like we weren't good enough for him, and it wasn't great, really.
So, Jacob, you're next. I'm going to allow you to choose who you want.
Wow.
Well, I'm just see where you go. You want to see where you go. I might veto it though. I want to see. Go, Jacob. Pick. Who do you want?
I'll go with the other Scotsman who I thought you were going to give Denver.
Yeah.
Who's that one? I got a couple in here. Coyle. All right. Go for it.
Yeah,
Coyle. If you know, you know.
Coyle.
Yeah, I think genuinely this guy might just be worse than Steve Keane somehow. Just simply because he's obviously had the merry-go-round of all the Lancashire clubs as well, like obviously Burnley, but you know, Bolton. Has he been at Wigan? I don't know if he's been.
I think he might have been.
Yeah, like just from the minute he stepped in the club, just absolutely toxic. Such a stupid appointment, obviously, and then goes on to sell all our best players. I think the only kind of good player we have left was Ben Marshall, who he was playing at right back, and then you know he fucked off in January. So yeah, just absolutely abysmal. And then you hear some of the stories from the players that played under him that season, and as you're mentioning there, Denver, where, in training, he's there like taking the piss, shouting his name as he's volleying balls left, right, and centre. Like the kind of consensus from all the players that I've watched on these podcasts is, he'd be a great first team coach, good laugh, he's like your mate sort of thing, but commanded absolutely no respect, no tactics, and the players were having to call meetings and all this kind of sort of stuff, like crisis meetings. And I think, obviously, I think that's probably why they kind of felt like they owed it to us. And a lot of those players who got relegated obviously stayed with us, and thankfully we went back up. But yeah, an absolute joke of a manager, and absolutely nothing positive to say about him, I'll be honest.
I'd say one positive thing, though. The Man United performance wasn't too bad, was it? I remember that 2-1 loss. That was all right. We played well.
And then he got sacked.
Yeah, he got sacked after it as well, didn't he? But it was a weird time.
My memory serves me. I think he got the job ahead of Warnock. I think Warnock was in line. It was either him or might have been Mowbray, but Warnock was in line. We fucked Warnock off because mates rates or something like that, and they got Coyle on the cheap.
I would have loved Neil Warnock, but yeah, I do think it was a matter of money. I think Neil Warnock would have been brilliant for us.
For sure. I mean, we're selling all our best players for the obvious reason. There will have been a thing from the owners to say, look, you develop these players and these Anthony Stokes of the world to going to score these goals. And it was just it's not good, was it? And I think the worst thing about it is when he was sacked afterwards, and I think he went on to whatever it would have been on, like the talk show, the match of the day equivalent. And he I think we just won a game. I think it might have been at Huddersfield or something, or draw or something like that. And then he goes to say, I knew they'd never get relegated. And then we subsequently got relegated. It's just not good.
Didn't he leave? Weren't we like bottom of the league, and then like Mowbray took over for like the last 8 games and had us like in like the top 6 like form table, but they just couldn't do anything about what he left us in. Yeah.
All right.
He got Charlie Mulgrave. That's about.
Yeah, it was a great signing.
Yeah.
Steve, I've got a brief one here for you. I'm choosing this one for you. But do you remember this guy?
Oh God, yeah, yeah. Let's get him in the dog. I'd put him in the dog shit category as well. Straight
away.
Not a player, of course, but not a player.
Yeah. And again, if you want to veto some of these calls, don't forget,
I remember it was quite scary. Like that was around. There was a lot of transition from. Was it Hughes that was before him? Who was before him?
Hughes.
And then I remember who was the player that he signed from MK Dons? Keith Andrews won it, and he was absolutely. And that was like his big signing for us, and it was like it was just quite clear that he was really out of his depth. He was doing all right at MK Dons before he came and joined us, and it was he probably thinks it was joining us as manager was such a big step for him. He probably took it because he was like, I'm not going to get this chance otherwise to manage in the Prem, but he probably needed a few more seasons to work his way up the leagues to end up getting in that position. But because has he been a manager since us?
Yeah, he dabbled with Blackpool and I think went back to MK Dons, and he's just Reading. He had a good thing with Reading for a little bit, but
didn't he get hire his son like each time he went to Blackpool and he went to Reading and then sprang him in as well. Like just kind of I wouldn't say that. Yeah, dog shit just kind of sums him up really. I wouldn't put him as the level as Keane and Coyle, but like wasn't the greatest signing for us.
Didn't have his eye on the ball, the bog-eyed fucker.
Oh, Jesus. I think the only thing, of course, this was before I really started watching Black, but I remember seeing there's a clip of him or something, and they showed it was maybe a match today or something. They showed a notepad, and it had an arrow and just said shoot. That was the quality that
actually,
we had.
So actually, like carrying on, like comparing to the other people that are going to be in this category, he's one of the guys that actually joined or wanted him to do well. Like everything he said, and spoke, like he seemed like, oh yeah, this would be a great manager for us. He just didn't. You just wanted him to do well, but he just didn't really have the tactical know-how, maybe, or I don't really know. He just wasn't a good manager.
No, but let's get some good managers on this board. Let's start with Jonty and this guy, surely. Roy.
Roy. Yeah. I think he's best of the rest, isn't he? He took us down though, didn't he? Roy. I think
everyone I've spoken to like say that he was a terrible manager for us.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
That's what I heard.
Well, yeah, he had a good couple of years, and then he had a bad one.
Yeah, his win percentage I don't think was too bad, but I think it was just, he was given the hand that he was dealt with. I didn't see him as a bad manager. I remember watching a lot of performances in and around him, and we just weren't good enough. But I don't think that was directly involved with him. I don't remember even the fans singing for his head. It was just more the circumstances we're in. Yeah. I just we did win. I think a decent amount of games under Roy. How long was he with us for? 2 seasons? Was it a season and a half?
I did have the stats up here, but I've closed that tab.
I think he was 1.5 seasons with us, but I mean, it's such a long time ago. Blackburn used to have quite a stable sort of management sort of people, but then we went through this
63 games he had.
63 games. So that's 1.5 seasons, isn't it? Yeah. Well, no,
that's 4.92 win
seasons,
percent.
isn't it?
Yes.
What win percentage?
Let's say 35%.
35%. So that's not bad, is it? When you
For Rovers, ain't that bad.
I think I don't know. It seems like a long time ago. I think he got us relegated. Obviously, very much Manchester United's number 2. So this was his from memory. I'm solely going from memory.
No. You're going down the Brian Kidd route. You're going down the Brian Kidd route there.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Up.
Yeah. Okay.
Roy was an Englishman, but he did a lot of his career abroad, like in Italy, and he managed a couple of national teams.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
come with a bit of a reputation.
So perhaps it was Brian Kidd that actually got us relegated for the first time for the Premier League, wasn't it? So that's exactly the route that I was going down. Yeah, Roy Hodgson. Yeah, it's a long time ago, mate.
Well, I'll keep him in the best of the rest. I think when you look at some of these names here,
35%. If he was 35%, I got that bit right. But I think we've had worse managers than him. Haven't we? Yeah.
Some coming out.
I think you need to give Brian Kidd to Jonty then, by looks of it.
Well, we'll have to wait till round. He's got a couple of crackers in here in the old Premier League days here. Denver, you're next, and I'll give you an Englishman. And he goes by the name of Gary Bowyer. How about that?
Yeah. Really the first manager that I'd seen at Rovers, really, when I got into it. It's hard to... for me, it's probably going to be decent, but I could put an argument for maybe best of the rest just because of the circumstances that we were in. But I think decent's where I'd put him, just because I'd say best of the rest because at the time, the amount of times he did the caretaker role and did a decent job. And then whenever we brought a Henningberg or, Michael Appleton, it just seemed to fall flat. And we just had that bit of stability when we needed it, when it looked like it looked like at one point we were destined to go into League One that first season after Steve Keane sacking. And he kind of just kept us there, with Jordan Rhodes scoring all the goals, of course, but he just did it. But then the only issue with you'd look at Bowyer, especially the third season, especially the talent that we had. Look, he's brought the players in, but how we finished 9th that season, that you whittled the names down. You had your 2 strikers, Gusted and Rhodes, scoring 40 plus goals the season, and you finished 9th is ridiculous. Between them, and then of course it kind of felt the wheels fell off after the fourth season in the championship. The high wages that we had for Premier League money had gone, so we had to sell on these better players, and he struggled ultimately after that. So, but no, I think for what the trajectory that we were going on before he came in, and he just sort of stabilized it. But I remember there was some really frustrating games. I remember that game against, I want to say, Yeovil Town at home, where that would have been the game to get us in. If anyone remembers, to get us into those playoff places, and it was like a 0-0. It's such a Gary Bowyer game. You probably go for it, and he never really I remember thinking, what was the objective? Just lump it up to Rhodes and see what he could do, or lump it up to Gusted. This is pre-Gusted though, but yeah, I just remember that game at home thinking. I remember my dad saying "This is it. Your last 2 games before the end of the season. Let's get in this play," and it was just so lackluster. And
I remember. there's not many songs that I remember the opposition fans singing, but I remember on that particular occasion when we played Yeovil, they were singing to Blackburn fans, "What happened to you? What happened to you? Champions of England, what happened to you?" And I remember thinking on that particular game, they're bloody right. What has happened to us? That was almost like the eureka moment where it was like, yeah, what has happened to us? We're playing Yeovil Town. I mean, where are they now? They're in National League, aren't they? I mean, what's happened to them, sort of thing. But also, they were singing to us, "What's happened to you?" And I remember thinking, yeah, they're bloody right. Do you know what I mean? Because I think we were drawing 0-0, and they were all over us, and they were, you were the champions of England. What's happened to you? Bloody hell. Anyway. Sorry, I digress.
It's mental to think they were in the Championship just 10 years ago, and like you just said, like where they are now. It's mental, really. The English game, isn't it? And then look at like the likes of Wrexham will probably be in Championship next year, won't they?
Yeah.
And living next door to them all my life, it's funny. I would always pick on anyone who was a Wrexham fan, but then recently it's not been so fun. Especially like when we went 1-0 down, I was thinking all the people that I coached that are going to rinse me for the rest of my life for this.
I got a bit of stick after that Wrexham game, just very quickly, because I was actually walking back to my car in Lower Darwin, and I was speaking to a Wrexham fan, lovely bloke, and he said to me, "See you next season," and I went, "Yeah, we'll do." And that's when Blackburn were like struggling in the Championship. They were like flying in League Two, and it only registered about 5 minutes down the road when he said, "See you next season." So I'm thinking, well, the only way we can meet is if we go down, they go up. So I turned around, I went back looking for him. Where is he, bastard? You know what I mean? I thought, cheeky bastard, he's just got one up on me. But no, lovely chap. I'm only joking. I didn't really. It just suddenly clocked on me. I thought, bloody hell, yeah, you might be right. Yeah, they go up, we go down. Yeah, see you next season, League One, dickhead. Nice one. Yeah. Jeez.
Nearly happened. So close.
It nearly did. Yeah.
Jacob, I got one for you. Your favourite.
Oh, give it me.
Yeah,
we know where you'll stick them.
Don't give it Jonty.
Yeah.
What's the one below dog shit?
He can't go below
Coil, surely.
Think of the good times.
Yeah,
Jacob, if you put him anywhere other than dog shit, mate, I'm never speaking to you again. He is shit. He is more than dog shit, mate. His only first season was because of all the good hard work of Tony Mowbray. And don't anyone on here try and say anything different. He piggybacked on a really, really good Tony Mowbray season. The true season of this guy was last season, and he nearly took us down.
But would you not say that, like,
no.
Mowbray? But I want to be devil's advocate, though. That season, though, because Mowbray was doing nothing with the team. Like, the team was calling out for change, which he brought in the change to be able to be a much more passing team, a much more team that's a little bit more modern, if anything, which Mowbray was reluctant to do, which is also how the team ended up fighting for playoffs. But then the exact same thing that Mowbray did, where he didn't change things up and adapt, he fell into that kind of thing the following season.
So I think in the last, it's a valid point, Steve. Listen, I think in the last 2 or 3 months of Tony Mowbray's reign, Tony Mowbray was getting slightly pissed off with not hearing from the Venkies, and he probably lost a little bit of interest in Blackburn Rovers because he was kind of, spitting his dummy out, maybe, as you would, 5 years of long-term service. So I think he was a little bit pissed with everything that was going on at Blackburn Rovers, and he probably, lost a bit of interest, is my opinion. And then young Dol Thomason, he picked up what I believe was a team that was underperforming towards the end of that season, and he just sort of piggybacked and he tried to implement his style. But yeah, I mean, where are Sweden now? Have they won a game yet?
Yeah, they're doing all right, Sweden. They're doing all right now.
Shut up, Dirk. Shut up.
I love this.
Stop pissing on my parade.
I love this answer from Jacob, to be fair.
Jacob, where are we going?
Actually, I'm actually say before you start, I'm gonna fight for a little bit for him, not to be
I agree.
Shit. just because. Also comparing the other managers that are going to be in this dog shit category, like that's why
He's not going in dog shit. Don't worry,
No.
Steve.
I think he's just the
Jonty's
ideas
got a
were
bit of an
good.
agenda.
Ultimately. They were good, they were good ideas. I remember at the time being skeptical, but it did work. I mean, just all I'll say is just remember how poor we were in the cups under Mowbray. But I don't think we got out of round 3 once. And he took us to, the Chelsea, West Ham wins, the quarterfinal, wasn't it? Leicester, the Sheffield United game, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, we did really
We'll get there in the end.
I'm losing.
Who's Jonty? I can't hear him.
No, neither can I.
I'm
Jonty,
back.
you still there?
Oh, he's gone, I think. But yeah, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And I met him as well.
Yeah, so
John Bell's hacked into his internet.
Yeah.
my last plea not for him to be in the dog shit is mainly for the fact that he missed out on playoffs on goal difference. And
under Mowbray.
But look at the 2 managers that are in dog shit now. Would we ever even get? I reckon we'd get relegated with the team that we had with them.
He relegated us almost single-handedly. That guy, almost. If we'd carried on with him, we would have been down in Division 1. Wake up, smell the coffee, guys.
Division 1,
the
I don't
guy's
mind
dog
that.
shit.
Jacob, where's he going?
Yeah, I would put him in decent.
Yeah.
I would put him in decent personally. I think
I'm going.
I think it's definitely a season of 2 halves. 2 seasons of 2 halves, I suppose. The first season, yes, he probably did piggyback a bit off Mowbray's kind of success, but I think it's worth remembering we lost the likes of Joe Rothwell, Darragh Lenihan, Ryan Nyambe. There's probably a couple more. I can't think of off the top of my head. Armstrong, big kind of names there.
But where are they now?
Yeah, but they were big players for us. Same with Brereton Diaz. Obviously, after he's left, he's not gone on to great pastures, but he was great for us. So
was he?
Yeah, he had
for us. 3 months that were really good, didn't he?
Well, that was spicy.
So, I mean, yeah, I think it's decent. I think it's worth remembering the FA Cup stuff. Yes, we missed out on playoffs by goal difference. We should have really made playoffs that season. But yes, I do agree, Jonty. If John Doyle had carried on with us last season, we would have been relegated. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think this. Let me just say this. I think if young Dale Thomason ends up in the Premier League, managing the Premier League, I will show my arse in whatever window you want me to. That guy will not manage a Premier League team.
I think that's
I'm going.
I don't know.
What's the banging? Who's banging?
It's John Bell Thomason, I think.
Knocking at the door.
I'll just let him in. Hang on, I'll just go and let him in one second.
Yeah.
But let's get on the same hymn sheet for this one then, shall we? Who's next? This has got Steve on it.
I wish my wife banged that hard.
Where we go with Sparky, Steve?
So I'm going in comparison of the rest of the managers that are going to be on the list. I'm going to put him in the elite.
Yeah.
He's the prime manager from probably when I was really strongly into football. Around that, when you're in that you're in later school and that's where everyone's coming in talking about what's happened that weekend. And yeah, he is the manager really that I followed with the team that he put together, the team that he got us into Europe a few seasons back to back, I think. There's no more superlatives that you can really say really, other than the one manager that we're going to really talk about that obviously won the league for us.
He's not in this list. I'm doing everything but, because that'd be cheat mode.
Okay.
We ignore Kenny. We know Kenny. But you're also going to, Hughes brought in some amazing faces. Samba, Nelson. Did he bring Morton Gabston? Who has that accolade of bringing him in? Two guys, did he bring him in? I don't know.
No, he didn't bring.
Wasn't it?
Who was it? Who brought him in?
I think it was.
Yeah, he didn't bring Two-Guy in. I think that was Souness.
Souness, yeah. That was Souness.
What about Santa Cruz? Santa Cruz,
Cruz.
But yeah, all the like Bellamy. We consistently had players that were like hitting like the top goal scorers of the league. Look at Benny McCarthy, the Jason Roberts. These were like, I'd say for me, the glory years of being in the Premier League or being a Blackburn fan, really, with him as the manager.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree. Jonty's back. Let's again rolling back the years. You get unfortunately all the old guys here, but can you remember this one?
He's done scrapping John Dale.
Ray Arford.
God rest his soul. Yeah,
legend of the Rovers, but not necessarily the best head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, he had big shoes to fill, didn't he? You might have wondered where I dropped off to. Well, you guys wound me off the clock that much. I've had to go and get my friend Stella to join in the club. It's a school night. Ordinarily, I don't have a beer on a school night, but you guys wound me off the clock with that.
Jacob pushed you over the edge with his John Dahl rating there.
I think we all did. I feel like John doesn't like John Dahl Thomason. I don't know what it is.
Whatever he gave you that thought, you know. I mean, you know.
Stella's called wide beater, not John Dahl beater.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Ray Arford, I mean, they were big shoes to fill for after Mr. Dalglish. He was, you know, such a great assistant manager. And yeah, he had a bit of a tough gig. Obviously, he lost Shearer, I guess, in that era. If I'm right in saying, I don't know, we're going back bloody 30 years, aren't we? But yeah, you know, should we have won the Premier League that season? You know, we're a small town club. Yeah, we absolutely deserve to, but you know, it was just never in anybody's wildest dreams to do that. So, you know, you feel sorry for the guy that was coming in after Kenny Dalglish, weren't you? So he had a shot of it. We had a couple of experiences, shall we say, in Europe. I remember my brother going to Trelleborg. Bless him. At the time, he couldn't afford the flight, so he caught the bus across to Trelleborg. It was something like a 28-hour journey to watch 2 hours of football and then catch the bus back. I wasn't as committed, to be fair, back in the time, but yeah. What was his win percentage? Go on and lie to me. 25%, was it?
We are looking at Ray Harford. Actually, got 37.5.
Oh, actually, yeah. Well, no, fair
better,
play.
Better than Roy. Yeah,
better than Roy. Yeah, it was just big, very big boot.
Premier League, wasn't it? So that drop off, of course. 37 is like a good steady Roy Hodgson.
Yeah, we'll snap the hand off now, won't we? You know, 37. But yeah, it was bless him. I think he did a sterling job. Where would I put him? Decent, I think, is probably a fair place to put him.
Yeah,
with John Dow.
Oh shit! Actually, put him in elite.
Who we got next? Back up to Denver. How about? Okay, what about? Have you got? Can you remember this one? Hanningberg.
Just
don't forget anyone remembers him.
It was like it was such a short stint, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, yeah, he's come in on the back of Steve Keane, a name that we know, with his time at the club, both stints at the club, and this didn't work, did it? It really wasn't. I mean, at the time, what were we? We were second or first in the league, but I think when Steve Keane decided to eventually go, and we went from there to just dropping way down the table. So. As much as, of course, we have that affinity with the 1995 season and the 2002, Carling Cup and the Worthington Cup winner at the time, and the Premier League. It's got to be. But it's such a short amount of time that he was there. It's got to be dog shit on it. Let's be honest. But it was. Yeah. Again, it was such. It was. How many games did he? Was it like? It can't have been that many. It must have been like
5 or 6, was it? He won one.
I was saying 10, 11, but yeah, having 5 or 6 games.
He won one.
10.
10, yeah, 10, 11.
How many did he win?
1.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, unfortunately.
What about... Okay, let's go.
Good work, Dirk, though. You've taken the lid off the grenade on this one, haven't you?
Sorry. Jacob, you'll get this one. How about Mowbray?
Oh.
Can I not have him? Can I not have him?
I don't care. If Jacob wants to give him, and I'll...
If you're decent now, just to rub it in.
Go there, Jonty. You give us a spiel on you, Mr. Mowbray. Your man crush.
Elite, 100% elite. This guy deserves a statue outside Blackburn Rovers. Cast your mind back to when he took over Rovers. It was a sinking ship. He took over, and I'm getting from memory, I'm not looking at any stats or anything like that, but he took over when we were an absolute complete and utter shit show. We were sinking very fast. I think he took over in the January, February. Mm-hmm. We were almost relegated anyway. He did the best that he could do. We still got relegated. As if I'm led to believe that this is correct, he basically said to every single player, when we got relegated, you guys have got us relegated. Don't one of you think for a minute that any of you leaving, you got us relegated, you're going to get us back out of this league. And every single player stuck together. Your Elliot Bennett's, your Charlie Mulgrews, that could have gone on to much bigger and better things, probably. And he didn't. He kept them all together. Because here's my thing. If we didn't get a bounce back straight from League One into the Championship, we would still be in League One now, maybe League Two. Honest to God, that is my honest opinion. We were a broken club. And Tony Mowbray single-handedly, in my opinion, turned that ship around from almost fading into complete oblivion. So, you know, I said it loosely before, almost tongue-in-cheek, but I will be eternally grateful to Tony Mowbray, and I will put him up there with one of the best managers at Blackburn Rovers because of the way he took over, where he took Blackburn Rovers over from, and he single-handedly turned us into some form of club again. So for me, he's the elite, eternally grateful. If I could shake his hand and give him a big hug, even to this day now, you know, sort of 2-3 years on from when he left Rovers, I still would do. So thank you, Tony. God bless you. Hope you get well soon. Hope you're back in management soon. Yeah, love that guy to pieces.
All right.
I can't dispute much of what Jonty said there at all. I think most managers with that team in League One probably would have got that team out of League One. I don't think it was a League One team. I think that's fair in saying. But my mind kind of goes to those really frustrating seasons we had in the Championship once we got back. For example, the COVID season where we finished 15th with Adam Armstrong, who scored 30-odd goals. I just don't know how that's possible. To mismanage your side so badly that you have top goal. Well, it wasn't top goal scorer, I think Ivan Toney was, but to have 30-odd goal scorer Adam Armstrong, generational talent Harvey Elliott, and finish 15th. One of the most frustrating seasons I've watched. I personally, I think I'd give him best of the rest. Just because I don't know how we didn't reach the playoffs at least once with him, and I think he will kick himself thinking the same thing. And then typically leaves, goes to Sunderland, and gets them playoffs the next season. But you know, even the season when the end of the season when he left, he had Brereton Diaz banging him in that season, Dene, Joe Rothwell, and whatnot, and you know Van Heck, and just were, as has already been said by Steve, refused to kind of change the football in any way, and ended up slipping out the playoffs again. so many frustrations there. And yes, I'll obviously be grateful for him getting us out of League One, but he should and could have got us the playoffs in so many times. And not to mention, obviously, when he had Bradley Dack scoring, which we probably could have made this playoffs one of those seasons as well when he was fit and firing.
Before he got injured, to be fair to him. But I'd agree with that. Best of the rest, but the one I mentioned when the COVID season, not the COVID season, sorry, I think the season before, the season after when we finished 15th. I think the COVID season. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of the end. It was the end of that season when it with Toast and Adarabioyo, but the following season we had no fans in the stadium. To be fair, we had Harwood Bellis and Branthwaite at the back, didn't we? Who now look at them both are quality centre backs, but at the time they were two young centre backs, and yeah, we I can't remember who we had right back. Was it still Nyambe that season? I'm not too sure. I think it was Nyambe when it was Nyambe, and then Brian Douglas. We won't talk about him, but yeah, I think that back line alone, just the inexperience itself, that's the reason why. As much as we were good going forward, we were conceding loads of goals. I think that was Thomas Kaminsky's first season as well, even though he was class. But
I'm actually back what Jonty says here with him being elite. Just kind of going off of what you were saying. So like from the Steve Keane era until him, all of the managers that we went through, I kind of fell out with like interest of even seeing what scores were coming in with for Rovers and stuff like that. But he's the guy that actually built the team that made a lot of Blackburn fans start watching again. Yeah. And you look at it from the whole infrastructure of the club where we weren't bringing any youth players through to the team. Now we've regularly getting players come in. The loans that he did, he actually to progress players on, even though they weren't actually playing for them. And he actually just seems like a person that wants to grow people in the world of football, whether it
100%.
Whether it be your Harvey Elliott's, whether it be your Ryan Nyambe's, whether it be your Kaminsky's, like he just helped the club become a club again, rather than just looking at just with disinterest, really.
Sorry to interject, Steve, but that is such a valid point that I eliminated from my mind. But we literally had no youth team. All the managers previous to Tony Mowbray, your Owen Coyles, your Lamberts, your Boyers, and what have you, they were not bringing the youth through. That youth development team that Blackburn Rovers have been sort of famous for in the past, sort of thing. We were just non-existent in that, and single-handedly, Tony Mowbray created that environment again for youth teams for youth players to sort of shine and be part of the first team and to aspire to be that as well. So yeah, fair point, Steve, because that is a massive part of not only what you see on the results on Saturday, but also all the stuff that goes on. And Tony Mowbray absolutely put everything into Blackburn Rovers.
But yeah, and just again, look at we didn't have the squad depth that like we have now, like we spoke about earlier this season. Like there's so many times where we'd be great at the start of the season and we just fall away just around Christmas time. I remember there being around like December to February, we went without a win one season under him, but he still wasn't backed in the January transfer window. And them few seasons where we just missed off like making playoffs, if he was backed like with one or two signings, guaranteed would have hit playoffs with him. It's just a shame that he just didn't have that little extra bit of money from the people up top to kind of back what he saw us getting back into the Premier League, basically.
Yeah. Go on, Denver.
On the topic, I love very clarify. I love Mowbray, but on the topic of bringing youth, I work in youth football, and how much do we credit Tony Mowbray for bringing them into the first team, of course, but of course the talent itself. I mean, when you're in League One, it's a lot easier to bring that talent through. So like the likes of Travis and giving him this time on, at the standard that we're at. It's almost like, the higher the levels you go, the less you see these teams pushing youth development through. And I think we've got to credit, of course, the academy itself for doing that and bringing these players through. But then, of course, he started that trend. I know we had the other likes. We had a few players come through. Never really. At that point, we're in the Premier League. So how many of these players, let's say, if they were pushed on, if we're in the Championship, how much success would you see them come into the team? And then, of course, we've had the likes of Adam Ward and stuff like come through after Tony Mowbray. So we're still getting the succession line. I don't know how much is that's down to the manager, of course, putting them in the squads, of course, but how much that is the academy itself, maybe not just Tony Mowbray itself. But I mean, Tony Mowbray, he made me fall in love with that team. And yeah, so I can't say much more than that, but I just thought I'd mention that on the side of the players coming through.
Yeah, I think you players like Adam Wharton probably started under Tony Mowbray. Do you know what I mean? They're not a John Dole Thomason sort of product or anything like that. You know,
Can't
I
give
think
him
it's.
credit.
Say again.
It's like we can't give him credit, can we?
Absolutely not. No, I'll tell you
no.
what. If it was any other manager that sold Adam Wharton, we would have got a lot more money for him because, he walked straight into Crystal Palace and probably added about £20 million to his price tag. I still think what we got for Adam Wharton was grossly underrated compared to his ability. Bearing in mind, I'd watched him quite a lot in in the youth team as well. I mean, I remember first time I met Adam Wharton, the guy was on crutches. Do you know what I mean? And yet he never had featured at that point in the Blackburn Rovers first team. So I've forgotten where we're going with that one. But no, listen, Tony Mowbray, he single-handedly put an academy back into Blackburn Rovers, is my personal opinion.
Even just
you're the tiebreaker, Jack.
Just to add one last point on that, also the signings he made were youth players. So like you look at like the likes of like Tyree Stolen, for example. I know he's like you can say whatever you will about him, like, but when he came in, he was going nowhere. But then now he's an established Championship player. I'm pretty sure most teams in the league would love to have him. Probably will be trying to get him at the end of the season. But Harry Pickering goes, even the squad that we have now, there's still a lot of Mowbray that kind of has essence in it.
The one on Dolan,
He'd always buy young players. He'd always buy young players, but then be the first person to complain in every loss in the post-match interview that we had a young team.
Yeah, no, but I remember the one with Dolan. That wasn't his signing, though, was it? I remember I think it was like the backroom staff. They said we need to get this kid, and he said, "All right, we'll bring him in." Thinking he was going to be part of the youth setup, and then he really impressed him, of course, when he come in. So I remember that the Dolan one wasn't out as much as we're saying. It was other people behind the scenes, which of course Tony Mowbray had brought in. But also, I'd like to say with the lack of money that we'd say with Mowbray, I just thought I'd bring up Gary Bowie and a transfer embargo. You know, how well he did considering we could not bring any players in whatsoever. It's just I thought I'd be devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Dirk, what were you doing then? What were you playing with?
I'm ready for the next one, mate.
Little segue. he wants to move on now. You want the next one?
Yeah, let's go. We got 6 left. Come on, let's go.
You're the tiebreaker.
No, I'm letting him in elite. I kind of agree. I think I like Jonty's thing. Yeah, he did save us. We were on a highway of nothing, and he did have a nice little black book of contacts, and he got a lot of good class quality in there. So. Yeah, I don't know if I will put him in elite, but I think it's justified. We're done with him now. I'm done with him. He's boring me. Let's go to Steve. I'll give you a good one. Here's one. We're going to meet him. Mr. Allardyce. Going to be at the awards.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I'm buying that ticket right now.
I was actually listening to his interview with Samba, which is actually really interesting. If anyone, it's a little.
I caught a glimpse of it already.
But yeah, I'd give him best of the best. There was no reason he should have left I think we were 8th at the time when he ended up leaving. He kept us. Who was before him as well? He saved us from relegation. That's it. It was Paul Ince, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Saved us from relegation that season that he came in. And it looked like we were up back to pushing for Europe again, and then some reason he just got let go. And yeah,
No,
if
we were going to sign Jose Mourinho as manager, wasn't it? That was the reason. And sign Ronaldinho and David Beckham. I remember correctly.
But yeah, if we wouldn't have got relegated from the league that season, I wouldn't have thought if we kept him, we wouldn't have gone to Steve Keane. It's just a shame he didn't stay there longer. He could have been higher if we had the chance, if it wasn't for the Venkies.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's do another one here quick. And it's Jonty is another old school one. Let's get him out of the way. Brian Kidd, where's he going?
I've already given my overview of Brian Kidd, haven't I? So, to repeat, he's the guy that kind of got us relegated. It's weird, actually, because I actually worked at the club when all this was happening as well. So, if anybody remembers Rover Vision, I was their floor manager for Rover Vision. So basically, Blackburn Rovers, I don't know if you know this, but they had Radio Rovers. A guy called Gerald Jackson was the presenter on that, and then that sort of evolved into something called Rover Vision. Absolutely brilliant live television show hosted by the one and only BBC Radio Lancashire Graham Liver currently, and I somehow got a job at Blackburn Rovers being a floor manager, so I would feed back into the gallery that there's about to be a substitution, or there's a confirming who the yellow card was for and things like that. So I just remember, like Brian Kidd, that we actually did get relegated under Brian Kidd, and it was almost like he was blissfully unaware that we'd been relegated. So it was, I think we lost, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but our game that actually sent us down was against Manchester United. That's a game that relegated us, and it was Sir Alex Ferguson that was blissfully unaware that we'd been relegated. But here's the thing, the Blackburn Rovers players, there was grown men crying in the stands that we'd been relegated, and I was just amazed to see that all the Blackburn Rovers players, including the manager, didn't seem that bothered. And it pains me to say that. Do you know what I mean? Because I had a bit of an insight, and they were still sort of laughing and joking. Oh, that's your alarm to wake up, Dirk.
No.
It was a weird situation, but yeah, I mean, where would I put him now? Probably meh. I suppose he had a difficult job to do, but the reality is he got us relegated, didn't do much. It doesn't stick in my memory, so I don't think he was dog shit, but I think he was meh.
27% win rate in his time.
Okay, put him in dog shit. Yeah, you got me.
I'll leave him in meh. I think.
Yeah. No, I'm joking. Yeah, he's meh.
Yeah, meh. Denver. Let's go with. I don't know. What should we do? Okay, there we go. Another boring one for you. Sorry.
Lovely. I literally had Edinburgh as well, didn't I? I think I might just It's very, very similar trajectory with Edinburgh, of course. Very similar situation. But I think because of the Arsenal victory away, I might just put him in meh. I know we lost to Millwall afterwards, and I remember watching that live. That was my first real, the first game I remember vividly watching in a pub with my dad, and after, of course, I knew the result against Arsenal. I remember being really excited, we've just beaten Arsenal, and we go and lose to Millwall. It was it was Danny Shittu, I think, scored the winner of all the players. I remember thinking, how have we managed that? But I think just for that, the Kazim Richards goal. Put him in there. But
we stopped Arsenal from potentially doing the treble of FA Cups as well. What we obviously hold the record for, don't we? So
yeah, you need to get out more, Jacob.
You were there for those 3 FA Cup wins, weren't you, Jonty?
1928, 1914.
18, 40, or something like
All right.
Chill out.
Who's next? Jacob, you're next. Let's go for
Yeah.
So Jonty's next, right?
now. Eustace, where's Eustace going?
Oh, hard to judge, isn't it?
Yeah, that's. I had the pleasure of meeting him, and obviously, Jonty, as you just said, if you ever met Morby, you'd kind of shake his hand. I shook his hand and thanked him for saving us last season because, as I said before, we were going to go down under John Doe. I have no doubt about it. And
Mate, single-handedly, Leeds away, Leicester away. I mean, I wouldn't shake his hand. I'd give him a hug. If you didn't give him a hug, I'm disappointed, mate. I'm really disappointed.
I didn't know if it'd be appropriate. I might have copped a feel if I did, you know. But...
You're only here once, mate. Go for it.
But no, I mean, yeah, he did save us last season, and yeah, wow, I was there at Leicester away, and just the euphoria of Sammy Smodics running through on goal and putting that second away, and just knowing we'd done enough to stay up. I've never felt an atmosphere like it, and sadly, I mean, it shows how poor me and Denver kind of started supporting Rovers. But that is probably my best Rovers memory, staying up on the final day. Yeah, it's quite sad, really. So I think I'd have to give him best of the rest just for that. And I mean, obviously, we're doing all right this season. It's too early to say, obviously, where we're going to finish, but I think we're probably just overachieving, considering obviously we just stayed up last season. So yeah, I think most people were saying this season with the mid-table. So like we're 9th right now, aren't we? So we're probably just punching above our weight at the minute.
I think the best compliment I can give him is that when after the end I can't speak at the end of last season, I was like, he's done us a great job. He's fantastic. I think it's time for someone else to come in and maybe do something. And when we appointed him, I was a bit skeptical. But after the past, so many games, the style of football and tactically just being switched on, going, like I said, we played a 4-4-2 the end of the Cardiff game just to see it out. And just seeing everything just done correctly, from what I see anyway, how I would maybe see the game. And it just makes sense, and we're getting success from it. And the style of football and the players that we brought in just doing really well. I'm really pleased. I'm overly pleased. So originally at the start of the season, I might have said, "Ooh, I fancied maybe someone different." I'm more than happy to have him in the driving seat. But I'll just go back to I think that Leicester game didn't have to be as nervy as it did. I remember I can't remember who we played at home the game before. It was 0-0, and it was they got. Who was it? Because they went down to 10 men. Yeah, they went down to 10 men, and it was like, this is it. We've got to get it now. Get out of the. And we never did it, and it was like that'd be so us, wouldn't it? To have a chance like that to stay up, and we go down against Leicester because it was Leicester at the end of the day. They were the champions. I know we had a lot of stuff that had to go against us, and on the day they did, so we had to get that performance. So yeah, there were those days where you're like, well, is he the right man? Because we, as much as we had the Leeds and that moment, the Leicester moment, there were the games in the middle where we should have had points and we never got them. So, but hey, I'm more than happy to have him in the club at the minute, and I'm really pleased that we do.
All right, down to the final two now. Steve, you can either choose the left or the right. One is well, I don't know. I'm not doing put words in your mouth. They're both Scotsmen. Either go the left or the right.
Well, I've got one that's going in the league.
You got to choose left or right. Basically. Left or right. Because I've got the photos.
Left.
You're going to go left. All right. So you get Ashley.
You're the Scottish. Soonest.
Boom.
There he is. Who's the other one? Who's the Scottish?
You'll see.
I don't know if being sarcastic or not, Denver.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm trying to actually think. I'm trying to think.
Don't put words in his mouth. Let him realise it.
Right. So let's put Souness in the league. He won a trophy in his time being there. I think we got top 6 as well with him the season after. He got us promoted from League One a second against a very good Fulham side. I think if I remember rightly, this is based on my age actually, from the nerdiness behind it. The following season with Fulham, ourselves, and Bolton's the first season that all three teams that went up didn't go back down. None of us went back down, so it was a strong season. Obviously, that season they got us promoted, even though we came second, and we also won the League Cup. Made some great signings with Cole, York, and despite all the stuff that Cole says about him, but got us into Europe and stuff. Like, he's the first manager I really remember of Blackburn. But yeah, for me, goes without saying, out of all these people, he's the one that won us a trophy, really.
The last major one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then, Jonty, you get to wrap us all up with this guy. Give us your piece on him.
Coming back to you now, Denver.
Well, there's a reason why. It's because I shunted it to the back of my brain and forgotten about it. But now you've had to force it down my throat.
Sorry.
So, if you just move into one side for a second, Dirk, if you just look at all those managers that we've placed in different places, the crux of it is
still put JDT below him, right?
who would you want? What we're basically saying is, if Eustace was to be sacked tomorrow, God forbid, right? But if Eustace was to be sacked tomorrow, those top three, we would all be happy with having back at Ewell Park tomorrow. Are we all agreed on that? Maybe there's a question mark about Tony Mowbray. Jacob, yeah, okay. So you would have Hughes and Souness back tomorrow, yeah?
I'd definitely have Eustace over Mowbray.
Yeah, okay, but okay, generally the top two you would absolutely. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
The middle were, well, with the exception of young girl, but then unfortunately, he's got to go in dog shite. But I don't actually think he was absolute categoric dog shit. I think he was meh. I think he's. And the reason I say,
what am I hearing?
the reason I don't say he was dog shit, I think he's meh. If
you honestly do you honestly think John Dawes worse than Steve Keane?
Yeah, I was joking as he said that.
Yeah, no, I honestly, he had a tough.
You're going to say he had his first and second before he got sacked, right?
He had a what?
He had his first and second, didn't he, before he went? He was like, we were second in the league before we let him go.
Well,
with a Premier League team.
Yeah.
He took a well-established Premier League team that was, Steve said 8th before, I don't know whether it was 8th, but it was definitely mid-table and nearly got us relegated that season, and then obviously did the following season.
Yeah, just going off of it's really because I really recently listened to the Allardyce and Samba interview, and as Allardyce left, we were 8th in the league, and then Samba says about he was looking around and literally only Pedersen was the only player left, like out of everyone that was like in that strong team that Hughes set up. And led into Allardyce taking over. So the likes of like Friedel, Ryan Nelson, everyone was just leaving. So it wouldn't have been easy for Steve Keane. But part of being a manager is start like building the foundations of like people believe it, that your players believe in that they can have success at that club. But if you've got the likes of Chris Samba like looking around and being like, oh, I'd rather go play in Russia and make some money because there's no one else around me that is actually going to be. It's quite clearly this is going to go into the shit basically.
I watched that podcast as well, and he mentioned Samba he stabbed Allardyce in the back, and they didn't want to play for him because he was seen as like a kind of traitor after that. He should have walked after he nearly got us relegated from being a well-established Premier League side, but he didn't. He stayed, and
but here's my thing: did he stay for the right reasons? Is that because he was in the academy at Blackburn Rovers, so he's, I mean, I'm trying to. In any other industry, if you've worked for a company and you're seeing it going a little bit to rat shit, which it did. Because remember when Sam Allardyce got sacked, we'd lost 7-1 at Manchester United, didn't we? It's a rhetorical question because I know we got beat at 7-1 at Man United because that's the only time I've been thrown out of a football ground. I genuinely got thrown out of Manchester United. Why?
Why?
For being persistently stood up. For being persistently stood up. 5 minutes into the game, I was thrown out for being persistently stood up. And my argument was, well, hang on, you tell all these 75,000 other fans to sit down, and I'll sit down. It's not my problem, mate. I only look after the away end. And I was like, well, I don't care. You tell all, if it's a health and safety feature, as you're telling me, tell the other 75,000 fans to sit down, and I will happily sit down. That didn't happen. 3 minutes later, Man United scored. I got thrown out, and I got thrown out by, we need to have a word with you about your mate. And I was like, well, yeah, I know he's had a few beers and what have you, but why? What's up with him? Yeah, we need to speak to you downstairs. So innocently, I went downstairs to have a word with the stewards about my mate's behaviour because he was a little bit raucous. He had a few beers. I was a sensible one. And they literally got me downstairs. I was thrown up against the back of the wall, hands up my back. And literally, when I say they threw me out, they literally threw me out. But ironically, I went out and it was about -18 that day. It was like the coldest day I've ever known in my life in the UK. And I got thrown out, and there's about 500 other Blackburn fans that had been thrown out. And literally, Man United fans said to us after the game, Man United, the stewards at Man United are only interested if it's a big game like your Chelsea's, your Arsenal's, your Liverpool's. Other than that, they've only got a job there to, if they're not interested in the game, then they're just like throwing away fans out. And there's about 500 Blackburn fans outside, like, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? And that's it. So anyway, where were we going with that?
Steve Keane.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm
I'm loving the stories, to be fair.
Oh yeah, all right, fair play.
Yeah. Not about the viewers, but
yeah, it's the only time I've ever been thrown out of a game. But no, I think Steve Keane. Let's cut him, in my opinion, a tiny bit of slack. The club was absolutely imploding. He came from the academy. I think his intent was right at the beginning. But it didn't bode out that well. So I think Dogshite, in my opinion, is harsh. I think he was a scapegoat. For me, he was meh. But don't read everything that the media, the press, social media says to you.
True, but at the same time, it very much was the Venky. They had the power to remove him if they really wanted to. He only could do a job as well as he could do because he's never been in that situation before, and he's subsequently. Where did he go? But then
the Venkies were clueless, though. They didn't even know you could get relegated from the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? So what chance do you stand?
And then when he's doing well in the Championship, this sack, it's just really poor ownership, really, in that area.
Yeah, and I think I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think it's more a reflection of the what was going on at the club in terms of the ownership than it was a Steve Keane's managerial ability. I'm happy to be proved wrong. I'm happy for people to argue against me. Don't get me wrong. I didn't like him as a manager. I did feel a little bit for him. I think it was a little bit harsh. I think we had, a horrible atmosphere, but I think he was the victim of what was going on at the club, as opposed to anything else. Has he gone on to do other stuff? I don't know. I don't care about the guy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Exactly. So I've not followed him. I've not. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is.
That proves that he wasn't a very good manager overall. I think
not
it's
necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Could he have been like? I mean, we've already spoken about them. Just that one manager that does so well. Nathan, whatever his name was, Jacob, help me out here. Jones at Luton. Is he just that one club manager? Who knows? Could he have been Mr. Blackburn Rovers? Because let's not forget he did pretty well in the academy. Do you know what I mean? He didn't just get that job as first team coach under Venky's for nothing. He, to be fair, they were doing all right at the academy. That's what a lot of people don't realise.
There was a lot of dog shit signed under his stewardship, though. He had a lot of
Yeah.
Portuguese imports coming in on high wages, and I'm sure he had a say in that. He might not have been the main man, but there was a lot of sleaziness around him and his coaching and his managerialship, and evidently it's one of the main financial disasters of Blackburn Rovers, bringing him in, and the sleaze that come with him. And the fact that we brought in the Fabio Juniors of the world and all these other dog shit players from Portugal. I get where he was going. He was going for an untapped league, but he was bringing in dog shit youngsters that ended up being nothing. I don't think any of these youngsters that he brought in for Portugal amounted to anything. I looked them up quite recently. I thought, did any of these guys actually do anything? They didn't. Dog shit. He was bad. He was a bad. And again, how did he get the job in the first place? Ousting Allardyce. There's a lot. We don't know. I don't know. Yes, the press said this, and you hear for other fans and all this. I don't know. Tried to trust it, but I'm going to say on record, he's dog shit. But I'm going to believe him where he is.
How much of that? The only thing I'd say to defend him is how much of that was actually Steve Keane. How much of it was all the other corruption that was happening in the background?
The Jerome Andersons, all the little sleazeballs.
Exactly right. Yeah. And that, I think he was working with a shit show that wasn't his own, is what I would say. And I'm not defending the guy.
And hey, if you were him and an opportunity came up to you like this, you're going to manage a Premier League club, you're going to go for it.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, why wouldn't you? And you know what? We might not find out for another 10 years when he writes his autobiography as to what really went on. But at this moment in time, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he was a shit show manager, dog shit. I think he's a mayor manager. That might change in 10 years' time when he says, you know what, it was all my own signings, which I don't think he'll ever do, but I'm happy to be proved
wrong. And if we could judge the players or the performances by, I don't know, just looking, the players, but they were real dog shit players back then. But I'm just trying to think if we could just look at the performances and not know who the coach was and just kind of a point of view from who we didn't know who the manager was, but we just watched the performances. Maybe we'd give him a better rub of the green, but because it's Steve Keane, he has a
exactly. We've got a scapegoat. It makes feels us better as a Blackburn Rovers fan. And if Sam Allardyce had just lost 7-1 with the same group of players that Steve Keane inherited, then you know what? And we rate Sam Allardyce as a best of the rest. Then what chance does Steve Keane? But anyway, I'm not a supporter. That's what I'm saying. I don't want people to go out and start windmilling.
And if we want to look at his win percentage, if I want to throw that in there.
I just had a look, and only Paul Ince has got a lower win percentage.
Hang on, let me see.
Yeah, he's dog shit. Put him down in dog shit. Yeah, absolutely.
No, but what I would say on it is, look, as much as I don't think it is his fault that he was put in the position that he was. Look, if someone come to me and said, "Oh, do you want the Blackburn Rovers managerial job?" and I've been in the academy, of course, I would take it. But does that mean it was the right man at that point? And I don't think he was the right person at that time. And the stats suggest that otherwise. Yes, I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Not just him. The Venkies in general have been, mismanaged the whole club completely. But I don't think ultimately the stats don't lie. He was one of the worst managers again in the Premier League under Paul Ince, and a worse one than him. So again, I wouldn't say it's his fault per se, but I still think he wasn't a good manager.
The thing is, it's also like what we said about all the things about Tony Mowbray, like the reason why he's elite, because of the love of bring us back into love with the club. If we're looking at managers that you look at and you're immediately fall out of love with the club, I'd put Steve Keane and Owen Coyle probably at the top of the of two of that. You look at either of them with a manager, there might be other things going on, but the manager is the face, is the figurehead of everything underneath. He's supposed to be the person that, even though if there are things that are going to shit, that they're supposed to be hiding that shit and being the person to blame, being the person to push praise onto the things doing well. But if there are things, they're supposed to be hiding that and pushing the positives and hiding the negatives. But essentially with Steve Keane, for me, he's the one that all I can think about is the negatives, never anything really positive from his reign as the manager at Rovers, really.
But thankfully, we're in John Eustace's hands. So let's move on to wrapping this sucker up. These are the next 8 games for Rovers and John Eustace. We're going to go quick fire through Denver. Have a look at them all the way through to Boxing Day. There's some bangers in there. We got Sunderland, of course, at home, Luton at home, Pompey next at home, and there's some tricky away games in there. Leeds are in there. How many points out of the 8 are possible? What is it? Do the math. 24 points available. Is that right?
Anyway, I'll whittle them through. So I think Portsmouth, we should win. The bottom 3, not doing so well at the minute. Middlesbrough will be a tough game, especially away. We seem to do okay at Middlesbrough, though, if I can remember. Sam Gallagher.
We've lost the Gallagher effect.
What was his name? Is it not Nuno Gomez? Nuno Gomez, was it? He scored that free kick many during Paul Lambert's time, I think. I think we'll get maybe a draw there. Leeds at home will be a very tough game. Possible draw. Hull City away. It's always a mixed bag at Hull away. I think we've lost the last few since we've been there, but I'll go with a win, sure. Sheffield Wednesday away. We'll flashback from last year. Already screams. That was the game, wasn't it? Last year, that was the turning point of our season. Really, we were just in and around the playoffs, and then that 3-1 loss to Sheffield Wednesday sent us down a dark path, I'd say. But I remember us winning 5-0 there a few years before that. So a win because they're not doing so well. I don't know what the score was today. They're against Sheffield United. Does anyone? I don't know.
1-0 Sheffield United.
Was it? That's not a bad result for Wednesday. But then Luton, the current form, you'd expect to win, but that'll be a tough game. Millwall away is always a hard one. You're lucky to get a win. Again, it's a tough. The Championship, I can see us winning, I can see us drawing, I can see us losing that game. I'll go with a loss because I haven't said it. And Sunderland at home, I could see being a loss because they're doing really well at the minute, even without Joe Bellingham. So I don't know how many points that is, but there you go.
I think it's 1,000.
Yeah. I think it's what 21 out of 21 points. However many there are. 6.
It's the on the fence amount, so 10 points, Jack.
Yeah, go on.
What do you say? 10 points for Denver?
No, I just said it's the on the fence amount, whatever that is.
Yeah, that's what I've become now, isn't it? I even say it in the match reactions these days. I'm always on the fence.
6. 9. Did you say you beat Luton?
No, not on the fence.
14. I think you said 14 points there, I think.
Right, someone did it. Win.
Yeah.
Draw.
Jacob, what do you think? Higher or lower?
I think 14. Lower, personally. I'm saying 12. I think Portsmouth's got to be a must-win, and I do think we'll win that. I do think we'll beat Middlesbrough away, just because we are a bogey team for them. They hate playing us.
Yeah.
Leeds will be a loss at home. Hull, I do think we'll beat away. As Denver said, we do have a topsy-turvy record there, but we have beat them in the past couple of seasons. I remember us winning there. I think Adam Wharton played Smodics through. That salute at the corner flag. Sheffield Wednesday, I do think we'll lose. I was at that game last season, Denver, and it was horrible. And I was freezing my nuts off. It was freezing. Luton at home, I think we'll win. So that's the 4 wins there. Millwall, we don't have a bad record at the Den, really. I think obviously there's the whole stigma of going to the Den, but we don't have the worst record there. But I'm going to say with the current form they're in, we'll lose. And then Sunderland at home, I do think we'll lose as well. I think it'll take some performance to get anything against them lot.
So, 12 for Jacob. Higher or lower than 12, Steve?
12, 14 points is about. I'll just go through them. I'm from Portsmouth, so I hope we win that. So let's get a win there. A win against Middlesbrough. I'm going to the Leeds game, so let's try and nick a point from that. Yeah, probably. A point will do. Hull is normally, whenever I've seen us play Hull, it's been the most boring game. We'll get a 0-0 draw out of that. We'll probably back-to-back loss against Sheffield Wednesday and Luton, I'd say. I normally go to Millwall, so we'll nick a win there. I think we'll have seen us lose against Millwall. So that's 11. And then Boxing Day, let's say we get a point against Sunderland because, yeah.
The Wards
So,
sticking together. Jonty, can you top 14 or where you going, reckon? What you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I've just changed a few things. I think a few things. So I think we're going to get 1 point.
What? out of 8 games?
Yeah, absolutely. Because every time I predict something, it's a polar opposite. So I'm thinking reverse psychology. If I say 1 point, we're going to get 23 out of 24 points. Boom. No, are you ready? Right.
Yeah.
3 points against Pompey, 1 point against Middlesbrough, 1 point against Dirty Leeds, 3 points away at Hull City, 1 point away at Sheffield Wednesday, 3 points at home to Luton Town. I've said 1 point at home to Millwall, by which time the Sunderland wheels, as they are already doing because they've drawn 3 in a row, I think we'll get 3 points at home on Boxing Day. Everyone's had too much turkey anyway, so I make that 16 by my mathematics.
Wow.
Right.
So that's what I'm going. 16 out of 24 in Eustace we trust. Big shout out to Philly Pete as well. Can I just mention Philly Pete before I forget?
No.
Philly Pete, what a fan reaction after the Stoke City game where he was under his duvet, because honestly, I was feeling exactly the same. I don't know if anybody else saw that, but if you just watch Philly Pete's vlog, right, he's under his duvet and he looked as shit as what I felt. Do you know what I mean? And you need to watch it if you've not seen it. Philly Pete. Fair play to you, my friend. Brilliant vlog. Crack on. Beautiful things that you're doing over in Philadelphia.
And hopefully, I'll see everybody in a couple of weeks' time. September, you're on the fence as usual. If you're going or whatever.
Wow.
But Millie's got a ticket. Go ask Millie if she wants to give up her extra ticket.
After that, come on, I might have to. When I...
You got to get it. It'll be great. It'll be great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Steve, we haven't met yet, so we'll need to make that happen. It'll be good times. Good times. Closing comments. We'll start bottom, work our way up. Steve, say something to the people watching at home. Something cool.
It might be times are changing. It's good to be a Blackburn fan. Just get behind the guys. And as Jonty mentioned earlier, I hope Mowbray gets better soon.
Yeah, indeed. Jonty, say something for the folks that are watching at home.
I'd like to apologise to San Miguel because I actually said it was Stella. It's not. It's San Miguel. So I'd like to sincerely apologise on behalf of San Miguel. No, it's a bonkers season. We've played brilliantly against Stoke and lose. We play okay to pretty good against Cardiff, and we get a fantastic win. Just keep going, lads. Keep the faith. Keep the supporters. No negativity. There's a lot of it about, and I don't know what it is about the Rovers fans. Just get behind the team. I just wish they'd put as much energy into supporting the team as what they do to slagging off the team. Because you know what, get to Ewood. Just get behind them. Forget everything else. Rovers till I die. Move on.
Court case next week. I just remembered out in India. Jacob, say something to the fans watching at home.
Yeah, might be worth a podcast that one day. Let's see what happens. But yeah, I think you're spot on there, Jonty, with the negativity. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was fuming after that Stoke loss, but to see on Twitter the next day people saying, "Oh, we should get Mark Robbins in," after he just got sacked at Coventry is such an overreaction. Saying we should get rid of Eustace, it's pretty pathetic, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm happy with the way things are at the minute. But in terms of where we are in the league, but I would like to see maybe kind of a change in formation after the international break. Maybe kind of do away with the wingers. I think Hedges and I know he scored 2 yesterday, but Vyman, I can't believe how they're still starting games. To be honest with you, off the balance of most performances this season. So I'm hoping after this international break, maybe a difference in formation kind of shake things up a bit, not be predictable.
Dan, that closes out.
I think JDT's had it rough in this podcast. I also think, look, on the fans thing, I think I even I mentioned it. I think I talked quite a bit about the fans' reaction in my reaction video, and it was just like such an overreaction, especially. And one thing that griped me for those who go to the games, especially against Stoke, the booing. It was like we had such a good performance. I know we'd lost the game, but the performance itself was just did not deserve booing whatsoever. And look, the games that I've been up to, we might lose games. It's part of football, but as long as we're playing the right stuff and we're playing the right way, and the performance have been good, and I think underused. I'm really happy at the minute, and yes, I just think fans need to just reflect and think about maybe how bad we've had it in the past, and look, it's a long season. I think we're playing the right stuff in the right way. And hopefully long term it'll be quite good. So I hope to see more of you guys.
Denver, sorry, mate. JDT's just behind you. I think he's calling you to bed. He wants a cuddle. He wants you to tuck him in. He's behind you, mate. Just
I met him when I was at Ewood Park, and I was.
He's behind you.
Games. Yeah, he was knocking on your door a second ago. Remember? And hopefully I'll be there with you lads at the event, and I get to. See you all. I see Jacob too much at the games anyway. So
yeah, sick of him. Sick of this seeing Jacob.
Sick of it. Where is he? There he is.
There he is.
Bring JDT. Bring JDT to the awards, because that's the only award he'll ever get.
Are you going to bring Steve Keane with you then? And that.
Well, there you have it, folks. There you bloody have it. Big shout out to the guys, of course. Appreciate the support on the podcast, because we are now in the home straight for the Football Content Creator Awards, where this podcast, the Rovers Ramble, has been nominated for a selection. Could it be the best podcast in town? Well, we will find out in not too long time. But of course, don't forget to drop your likes, drop your subscriptions, and of course, smash your subscribe as well, as we look forward to coming back for the next podcast, whenever that might be. Of course, if you've got some topics you want to talk about, let us know down below. But until then, I'll see you soon on the other side.